I wish these programs communicated better, that I don't have to have them open on two screens, but that's not the case. All right, so let me make sure everything is live.
Yeah, it says live.
It does. So good morning to everybody. We will have a few more people pop in as we go, but we're just going to hang out this morning, talk about how I track my stitches, how Cass does. If Leslie gets done with her son, she'll pop in too. And then we do have a couple others that may show up when they can this morning. But I know that there's been a lot of people in the group that will say, how do you count your stitches, or why do you count your stitches, or it's too stressful to count my stitches. So I thought maybe we'd hang out a little bit and show that it's really just done more for fun, and it's not meant to make any stress added to this hobby, because this is supposed to be where you relax, not where you start to stress yourself out. So when it comes to counting stitches, and the only reason I kind of do that in the challenges is to give you a way to check out how much progress you make and see where you're going. Do I expect you to count like exactly how many stitches you do? Absolutely not. I know myself, I use Pattern Keeper, and Pattern Keeper does not track the 2 3/4 stitches that are in one box. It only counts one of them. So in the end, you kind of lose some stitches, but I don't worry about being exact with my counting, and I don't expect anybody else to be completely exact either. It's really just kind of a way to show yourself you're making progress, and seeing that throughout the month. So yes, you do see your project on your piece, but sometimes pieces are a lot bigger and it doesn't look like a lot of progress. Like if I work on my stained glass for 4 days straight, it may not look like I did a whole heck of a lot. But if I count my stitches, I know that I did thousands and thousands. So it gives you a perspective in that sense. So when it comes to counting the stitches, even for the challenges in the group, I don't expect you to be 100% exact. I do expect you to be honest. Like, you know what I mean? Don't say you stitched 3,000 stitches in a day when you didn't. Like, but guesstimates are fine, and rough, if you don't have Pattern Keeper and you're doing it on a piece of paper, or if like, and I've said this before, if you know that you stitch in an hour roughly 100 stitches when you do it, and say you've counted a couple sessions and you see that that's pretty average for you, then if you stitch for 3 hours, just say that you stitched 300 stitches. You know what I mean? It's not meant to be anything overly stressful in terms of counting your stitches. So I thought that if we went on here and I had a couple other people explain how they do theirs, not just me, it gives you some ideas on how you can easily count your stitches. And I'm just going to get Kate in here. Multitasking. So in terms of the way I count is usually Pattern Keeper, because I've got the program on there. So why spend the time counting myself when it will do it? But when I am using paper patterns, or say a digital pattern on my iPad that's not in Pattern Keeper, what I tend to do is I take like 3 or 4 different highlighter colors, and if I'm writing on the paper itself or on my iPad, I'll use the digital highlighters, and each day I'll swap colors. So I'll highlight my whole session that I'm going, say I'm using yellow, I'll highlight the stitches that I did that day in yellow, and at the end I'll just kind of do a rough count, say, okay, today I did 300 stitches or something, and then the next day I'll use, say, a blue highlighter and do the same thing. So that I don't have to remember to count as I'm doing it. I'm just highlighting off sort of what I did. Rather than going, okay, I did 10 stitches and do a mark, 10 and have to stop every time to do that. I've seen, oh, there's Stitchee. I've seen some people use the tickers and the counters. Those things are possibilities too. But I personally, for myself, that's how I find the most accurate in terms of that, for counting. And then what I will do is I'll make notes on the side of the paper each day, because I don't necessarily always have the planner right next to me. I sometimes have it, on my desk and I'm back there. So I'll write it on the side, or if it's Pattern Keeper, what I'll do is I'll take a picture every day at the end of the day, because Pattern Keeper does reset the stitches and you can't go back and see what you had the day before. So if you forget what and didn't write it down or whatever the case may be, I'll take a picture of it with my phone, and the phone dates it. So I know, okay, that day I did this much, that day I did this much, and I can go fill my book in once a week. I'm just going to add Kate into here. Hi, Kate.
Hi.
So I'm just going over how I count stitches, and then we'll kind of go around the group and see who else has any suggestions. I know you guys are pretty spot on keeping your progress and your stitches counted, so it was nice to have you guys join me. And I'm going to pull the chat up on the side because Facebook user says happy Sunday. That's Tasha. And Michelle says good morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Well, good afternoon for Kate, right? Yeah, it's 4 o'clock or so. Or 3:30. Oh, we cannot hear Kate. Mute, unmute. No, you're still not there. We have a mime of Kate. You may have to pop out and back in. Oh, there's Mom.
Yeah. Does she know we can't hear her?
I'm typing in the chat to remind her. So I don't know if she can. Ooh. Program can be finicky sometimes. I apologize to everybody. There you go. She'll come back. Sometimes if you're using it on your phone and stuff, if you don't allow the right things like your mic and stuff, it just messes all up. So she'll pop back in and out. Trying again. So yeah, essentially, I'm very kind of willy-nilly with my counting because I don't want to stress myself out, to be exact. There's people that will count exactly what they do, and that's cool too. It's all what's comfortable for you. When it comes to backstitching, that doesn't get Pattern Keeper doesn't count that, and it does still count as a stitch in my eyes. What I find with back stitching is what I count as a stitch is when you come up through the fabric in the front and go back down through the back. That's one. So if you do that for every single square, then you count it that way. But I know I'll run long legs of say 10 across. That's one stitch. And with back stitching, again, it's something personally, I don't go, okay, 1, 2, 3. I just go, okay, I did. Normally when I do back stitching, I look at the piece and I go, okay, 100 stitches. Like I just throw a number that looks reasonable because I don't want to spend the extra time counting at the end for that particular part. But that's just me. You can work it the way you want. As long as everybody's honest and not overshooting their stitches a crazy ton in the challenge, I'm happy to, it shows your progress, that kind of thing. So let's add, can we hear you now?
Hello.
There she
Hi.
is. And hi, Mom.
As I was saying, this is my mom.
Hi.
We have Mom too.
That's Amanda.
Yeah.
And that's Cass. And
Oh, that's you.
And that's
Yes.
her. And Leslie's here. She's just with her son, so she's muted us and hidden us from things. But she is here. If she's got time, she'll pop in.
oh, bless you.
So
I'm so sorry. I thought it was later. My time is not up to scratch at the moment.
Yeah, it's early for me, so I'm just caffeinated.
Oh, Mum, could you do us a favour? Could you grab my glass and my cake from the other room, please? Because I thought I had time to. No, it's in the bedroom. I thought I had enough time to set everything up, and I don't.
We like to do things last minute. Time zones are a little crazy.
Oh, you idiot.
That's all good. We have a lot of different time zones going down because I'm up in, Cass is not far from me. I'm up in Ontario, so is Cass.
Yeah, did I tell you, Mum?
And then Kate is
Amanda
over in the
near
UK.
Toronto. Right. You know.
Okay, right.
And Leslie,
do you remember where Dad was brought up?
Yeah.
When Leslie pops in, she will be in Puerto Rico. So we've kind of got around the world here. So it's a bit confusing for time zones. I just muted you for a second because I was talking over you.
That's okay. Where did Dad was brought up in Toronto? But
Yeah, it was one of the suburbs of Toronto, but I can't remember which one.
There's a lot of suburbs of Toronto, so
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time down there too. Cass is in Hamilton,
Was it-
actually, which is a suburb of Toronto.
Is there an Oak something?
There's an Oakville. Yeah.
Oakville, that's where he was.
Oh, there you go.
Good guess.
Oakville, and he used to spend his summers in Temagami. By Temagami Lake.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of where I'm about a 4-hour drive northeast-ish to Toronto, and there's, I think, in our greater city, we have 3,000 lakes. So
I'm not surprised. Yes, it's a very wet province, isn't it?
yes, we have a lot of lakes, a lot. Well, then they call them lakes. Sometimes they're ponds, but We got a lot of those.
Okay, well, nice to see you.
Yes, you too.
Amanda's the one that's holding the convention next year that I'm hoping to go to. You know, the one I told you about.
Right, okay.
So
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
that means we need to save money. Hang on.
Bye.
Hi.
Bye, Mum. I'll speak to you later.
All right, so
I'm
we have a
so
hello
sorry,
from.
Amanda.
That's okay. Hey, we get to meet Mom. That's cool too. These are totally. I like to be casual. I know we're talking about counting stitches, but we get to meet Stitchies and Stitchy moms and Stitchy cats because she was there. She's around. She'll pop back, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
Oh yeah,
he's
she's
over there. He's
sitting.
over there. I don't know if you can. Let me see if I can turn it.
Oh, and
around.
Joey too.
There's
Oh,
the
there's
Joey.
Joey. One Joey.
Oh.
We have a Joey dog and we have a Joey cat.
You are loved.
We love a Joey.
He's like, am I?
So we have a hello from Sarah and Heather. This is twice in a row I've been able to get Heather to watch us because she's over in South Korea and she always misses things. So this is exciting. That's 2 weekends in a row I've caught Heather before she goes to bed. And Amy says hello. Lots of hello. So let's let Cass can kind of show off what she does, how she tracks things. I don't know if you use Pattern Keeper all the time or not. Or
Funny you're talking about Pattern Keeper because that's all I use is Pattern Keeper. So I'll spend like you every night when I'm done stitching, and I'll write it in my book if I'm wide awake.
yeah.
And I'll do it on the calendar in the planner and then on the main page. And then when I'm doing paper, I will do one little section and then I'll count stitches and I just put mine on a sheet of paper. And then at the end, I'll just calculate how many stitches I've done. For the back stitching, I'm the same as Amanda. I'll go over 2 or 3 or sometimes more depending on how far the back stitching is for that line. And then I'll just count that as one stitch. So I'm pretty much the same as Amanda when it comes
Pretty
to
common.
yeah, when it comes to counting. But I find Pattern Keeper is the easiest way. It just sucks that it doesn't show the back stitching.
Yeah, and then the 3/4 stitch thing bugs me too. I'm hoping that, and I'm in there, like I know they have a Facebook group stuff, and I'm hoping that they're taking, a lot of people are asking for those features and things too. So I know Pattern Keeper does not work with Apple devices because Apple is notoriously difficult to get apps to work correctly. I know that they have a program called Markup or something, Markup R or Markup, that does some similar tracking. I haven't played with it a ton myself, but I know that that's an option too. Oh, look, Leslie got a puppy or a kitty?
A puppy. That's Brownie.
Oh,
Puppy. Oh, it looks like Joey, but darker. Not your Joey, sorry. Ashley's Joey. There's two
I was going
Joeys.
to say, my Joey can't get any darker. He's black.
So yeah, I pretty well count the stitches the way Amanda does. I just find it's easier. And then I like looking back because I can tell when I'm having good days with my moods and bad days with my moods.
Yeah.
Or the days that I'm really at the gym.
Did I work out a lot or did I?
Because if I didn't do as many stitches, I'm like, okay, then I had a really good workout that day because I was there for like 2 hours at the gym. And then the days that I'm home, it's like, okay, I'm getting like 800 stitches in. So obviously I wasn't at the gym that day.
I can tell too, like I can see the difference in how I stitch through the seasons too. Like if I go look back in January, I'm like, wow, I did a lot of long sessions, like every day that I did it. Whereas in the summer, it's like, oh no, I can tell the weather was nice that week because I was not in the house. And then I also tend to, if I don't stitch for like a week, I'll tend to write in there like diamond painting or whatever it is that I may have done, just so that I don't feel like when I look back, I'm like, oh, look how lazy I was that week. Whereas I can be like, no, look, I went hiking. I went, you know what I mean? I went to do archery a bunch. You know what I mean? I justify to myself sometimes, but.
That's why I like the planner because I'm always writing down what I did that day. So if I know, okay, James and we were out for the day. So Obviously, it was a good day for us, but it really sucked for my stitching.
Exactly. But it's good overall, right? Because you got
Yeah.
other things too. It's not just stitching that we worry about. So
Exactly.
Annabelle says markup is very similar to Pattern Keeper from what people say. And Michelle says that she uses markup and it doesn't track back stitching either, but they're working on that as a feature too. So I guess from the sounds of it, it's could be very similar to Pattern Keeper for those Apple fanboys who don't have any devices otherwise.
I have a question regarding markup. If somebody could answer for me, is it free on the Apple device or not?
I have it on mine. I can't remember if I paid for it though.
I know Pattern Keeper we pay for.
Pattern Keeper, I think it's $10 or something. It's a really it's not a monthly fee, so that's good. For anybody that has a laptop or anything like that that you can use in your stitching area, like I have a laptop that's touchscreen, you can get an emulator that emulates the Android devices to get Pattern Keeper on your computers as well. I have that on my list of trainings for my Stitchees, but I have to pick my husband's brain because he set mine up. I didn't do it, so I have to go that way. Tasha says her only complaint about markup is that there's an annual subscription, so that answers your question there.
Thank you.
And Michelle says it used to be free and now there's an annual. Okay, so obviously I haven't been in there since I got it because I probably didn't pay for it. And so yes, there's an annual fee.
Thank you.
Okay, so I know Leslie has to pop in and out, so if you come in and you want to do a quick, talk about how you count stuff, just
I'm here. I just turned off my camera.
okay. I was gonna say I
around.
wasn't sure because I know you said that you had to go to your son. So if you want to,
Yeah,
Leslie is one of our. I think you would be the newest Stitchie in our group. Cass has been with me since.
I think.
Yeah, Cass has been with me since 2019, so we've been around. She's been around the block for a while. Kate
I've been around since March.
Yeah, I was gonna say you came. Yeah, because I saw the Puerto Rico. You're the first one to join us from Puerto Rico, so I like to every time somebody joins. So in September I'll do the same thing. My husband laughs at me. I sit at my computer and I go in and I look at who they are, and then I go look at where they're from, and I'm like, oh look, we have one here, and we have one. So I get excited seeing new places, and then when you try to ship to these places, it's different. Puerto Rico's a little different to get to for shipping. We found
you should get one of those wall where you can stick pins in for where everybody is.
If you're in there is a virtual one in the hub.
There is.
Yeah, so I made a virtual one because I don't have any wall space for an entire map, but I did the virtual one because I wanted to see, and it's pretty neat to see where we have obviously a good chunk is in the States, and the UK has quite a few, and then Australia seems to be really big, and it's neat to see where everybody is. So
what? Give me a second.
Oh, I'm gonna have to mute myself.
Just gonna mute herself for a minute. Oh, she looks like she has to sneeze. Leslie, you don't have this year's planner, or
that's better.
I have it printable.
The printed version, yeah. So next year you'll have the other one. Is there any other tips there, ways that you count stitches that is different from how Cass and I have explained?
Well, I use Pattern Keeper. I use Mark It Up. I use my notebook. I use a lot of them because sometimes I'm at home, but sometimes I have a lot of appointments, doctor's appointments, that I'm always out of the house.
Yeah, so you kind of have to. That's why, I use my phone because I'm mostly at home when I stitch, but I know a lot of people do the to-go thing, and it makes it a bit harder to track. So notebooks are helpful.
Yeah. This last 2 weeks I've been at the hospital because my husband has had an intestinal obstruction.
That's not good.
So he had an operation. And now he has 26 stitches on his belly.
Oh, geez. And you're being nurse now. You gotta take care of him.
I've been nurse for a couple of times because this is his 4th operation in the same area. So,
you definitely need to go projects.
Yeah.
To keep yourself relaxing a little bit in all of that.
Exactly.
I hope he's recovering well.
Yeah. So that's it. I use my notebook. I use pattern keeper. I use mark it up. I use whatever I have in my hands that day.
Whatever's closest, eh?
Yeah.
And Kate, why don't you you can show off whatever it is you have in your little notebook there.
So I have different sections. Now this one was main track. Then I had one for another group that I'm part of, because they only count every half stitch or every back stitch has to be divided by 2 for that group. Then these two, this one was information and this one was like all the half stitching counting that I was doing. So if I open up for the main group, all right, this one was yesterday. So but then what I did as well is as I was putting in like the half stitches, and then I was dividing it by 2, so I knew what they were. And then what I have done, if I can find it, which I used yesterday, which was a very good thing for me. There it is. Yeah. So I've already taken note of what my border is for the zodiac, because I don't know if you saw yesterday, but I completed another one. But
Yes, I did see that.
so I'm doing. I can't remember what these stitches are called. You did it in the Stitcho. It's one of the Stitcho board thingies.
Oh yes, that was the. I don't know if that's the Algerian or the.
That's it. Yeah, the Algerian thing. Yeah, but I'm doing like a border of those, and then obviously the border of black as well. But it just, to save time, I counted it up, and then I've got a note. So every time I do one, I can go back and I can check, and then there's the group that I have to divide it by, and there's the actual count.
Right.
And I called it my Stitchee count.
Your Stitchee count, yeah. No, that's a good idea to like make notes of like if you do those, so those Algerian little stars and stuff, if you know they're always say whatever the kid didn't look at the number, but if they're 5 stitches, then at least you can go, hey, I did 4 of those and here we go. So that's a neat little thing you can also keep in the back of your planner too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
little notebooks.
But I mean, I got this one for Christmas, so I thought I'd use it.
Might as well use some notebook. I have so many notebooks and I don't use them. I have a really bad addiction to stationery and notebooks and, well, for example, stickers. And I don't use anything. I they're too pretty and I don't want to use them. And then so my stickers, I finally went, okay, I'm gonna start putting them in things. So I have a Tinkerbell Happy Planner that's like kind of my this one's more of my health tracker, that's not my stitching tracker. I keep them separated just because I need an excuse to use this. I used to, and prior to making this planner, I actually used to have 3 planners on the go. So I'd have one for my like stitching and sewing and crafting and like all that together. I'd have one for like tracking fitness and that stuff, and then I'd have my work one at work. and then it turned into I needed one for my stitchy stuff, because that was another whole thing. So this planner this is the first year that I've actually only used one planner. So that's a testament to I got as much in there as I wanted. So and I've heard a lot of good news from other people that the planner is turned into their only, because I wanted to be able to leave some room for people to have personal spaces, not just cross stitching. So some people will use it just for cross stitching, but
I've said before that I didn't have one before this year, so I'm definitely loving mine.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the new one.
Yeah. Oh, but the poor little Chinaman that I deal with is probably so sick of listening to me. But he's super cool, because he'll like send me tips on how to get more people to buy it, and he's just as excited to see, and he loves seeing that you guys love it, because they're very proud of they're proud of what they give us, and they put a lot of pride in their work. And I'm gonna sound really mean when I say this, but for like China is all about mass, right? So sometimes the quality isn't always great. We all know that, when you're buying from there, it's sometimes hit or miss, because some people just want that buck in their hand. But I found this group they're super prideful in what they do, and they've been really great both years. So I run back to them right away in the spring and start the next one. And he was excited to hear that I'll have more space for the 2025, so I can bring more of them in and I can bring more
Yay.
products. And so that's why we ended up with notebooks this year, is because he, you know what I mean, he suggested those, and I'm like, ooh, those are not that much space. And
Because I'm going to use one of the notebooks because I have a bigger one that I've been using for the wedding stuff. So I'm going to actually do one of the notebooks where it's just have to do the wedding instead of.
that looks like one of those dollar store ones.
It is, and I'm constantly ripping pages and
I have these and this is why I'm excited about them, is I have these dollar store ones that I bought everyone they have, because they're like different colored and they all have different sayings on the front. So I'm like, now I'll have the different color coded notebooks that I can do all my things in.
Well, that's makes sense. I'm excited about it too, because instead of me just using these little notepads, I'm going to just use one of the notebooks and just track it right through the whole year. And then I can see how many times I was writing it or using paper. And then I'm going to have one for my daughter's wedding to jot everything down, so I'm not carrying around so many different things.
When's the big date?
They're getting married June 8th.
Oh, wow. So you got a whole year, really, yeah?
Something like that. So I'm actually making all the tablecloths for the bridal shower.
Oh, wow.
So we're actually going fabric shopping on Tuesday to pick a bunch of stuff up.
Cool.
I figure if we're talking about these things and nobody knows what we're talking about, I should go get them. So when we speak of planner, for anybody that's, because I know we do have some newer people, some people just don't catch, because Facebook's annoying and doesn't give notifications to anybody. For there being nearly 20,000 people in this group, a lot of people don't learn things because Facebook doesn't tell them things. So I start using the @everyone tag that nobody likes on only the really important things that I want you guys to catch. So the planner being one of them. So we've got our planner from this year, and next year's is one of them is here. The rest of them are on a boat coming from overseas. They left 2 weeks ago. And I usually start to see the UPS tracking after about 30 days, because I think the boat ride over is about 20 days, and then it sits because it goes through the LA mishmash of things to get it out of the container. And then once I see that tracking number, then this year I've been told there's 55 boxes coming to my house instead of 30. And these boxes are 30 pounds each. So UPS usually, once they're close and she gets them in her warehouse, she'll call me and she'll be like last year, she's like, are you expecting a large shipment? I'm like, well, yes. Like, no, somebody didn't just mail me 30 pound boxes. Like, yes, she's like, she goes, do you have somebody there that can help? And I said, well, I'm here and I can lift 30 pounds. My husband's here. So the silly driver comes up to my house and he parks on the side of the road. And I'm like, okay, first of all, you have 30 boxes to carry. Why are you not back? Like, I have a big driveway. He can easily back his truck right to my door. Like, he could be 2 feet away. He can hand it out of the truck and I can take it in the house. And then he starts dollying them up my driveway. And then he went back. He had the audacity to go back to her and complain that I didn't help. And so she calls me and she goes, well, you didn't help him. And I said, well, first of all, he parked on the road and he dollied them up. What would he like me to push the dolly for him? Like, I can't go and help him. I took it from him. I literally told him to drop it at the step and I'll bring it in the house. No problem. And she's like, well, he's on modified work duty. If I would have known that, I'm like, well, then you have a conversation with him, because he could have backed up to my door. She's like, really? So that was last year. I'm going to hope it's a different guy this year and he doesn't whine and complain.
I have my next notebook ready for the when this one runs out.
Oh yeah, what's this one? Is it Daryl? I took a guess.
Of course.
Of course it is. So Heather says she loves notebooks and stationery too, and gets really anxious trying to use stickers and stuff, that she can't even stick stickers on things. It's too hard to decide. Totally agree. So I bought this big pile of Happy Planner stickers in hopes that because I have lots, I won't care as much. And then I'm a part of a sticker subscription. She's actually in Toronto, so she's another kind of local one. So I have all of her really cute, like every month is a different, like they have little bees and like each month Yeah, so she's in Toronto, and you can like I think it's $17 or $27 a month, and you can pick different like journal ones or planner ones. And
So
she brought
cool.
out an advent calendar, which my husband went, I just heard the word advent calendar. What are you buying? Because I have, and I'm not a child, but I do still get advent calendars every year. I get one chocolate one, sometimes two if I find a different, like last year I found an after 8 one, so I wanted that one. So I'm getting a sticker advent calendar this year.
I wonder if after eights are the same as in Toronto as they are over here.
Like the mint chocolate with mint in the
Yeah,
middle.
yeah. The really thin squares.
Yeah. So the
Oh, okay.
calendar has like chunkier ones too, like in the shape of Santa and stuff, but it's the
Oh,
same, it's
cool.
the dark chocolate outside with the mint inside. So they
Nice.
made a calendar. So of course last year, and I have to have my Lindor calendar every year, or Lind calendar, sorry, every year. And now I have a sticker one. I had a tea one. I had a tea one last year too,
Oh,
which
like
was neat.
actual like bags of tea.
Yeah, like
Oh,
loose leaf
okay.
tea actually.
Cool.
So there's a tea company that's again another on I think it's Ontario based, and they put like little tins, and there was enough in there for 2. So if you brew it, you'd
Okay.
have enough for 2 cups of tea. So you and somebody else can enjoy a different tea every day.
Oh,
And then
nice.
on the back of the tin, you can read what it was, and it'll tell you what kind of tea it is after the fact. So that was my last year Advent adventure. This year is
that
going to be
was fun.
stickers. Yeah, that one's. There's a few teas that aren't my thing, but
Right.
so we didn't end up really drinking them, but because they have like I find there's some of the lighter white ones that I not my thing. I like a little flavor in my tea. I'm a coffee person most days, so
My that's all my mum drinks is she drinks the herbal infusions, you know, like the fruit teas and that.
yes.
That's all that she drinks.
Yeah. Heather, yes, it is David's tea so it is from Canada. There is US locations too for anybody in the States that's interested in the tea advent calendar. They do offer those every year. So that was fun. I should know that because I had a friend in Boston whose daughter is a big tea nut, so she bought it for her. So I should have known that they were in the States too.
There's a stitching store, Gita's in Mississauga. Sometimes they have the sewing advent calendar.
Oh yeah, there's a Caterpillar Cross Stitch does one too.
And Georgie Designs, which I'm getting this year.
Oh, my husband today, we were actually talking about this morning because I said, wow, like they're selling a lot of the sticker advent calendars is what I was talking about. He's like, did you ever think about doing an advent calendar? I'm like, oh, don't start.
Oh.
Don't start. So, it has
kind of do one. Because you release a pattern every day throughout December, don't you?
Yeah, so that's where I kind of got that idea is because I was bouncing the idea of a physical advent calendar, but with the supplies that have to go into it, it's a bigger shipment, and I feel bad for people who can't get it with me being over here. But I keep tossing the idea, and then I was tossing an idea of making one that is like because we have a lot of Stitchees who have different products that I don't do, like fabric and counters and scissor fobs and that stuff. So I'm thinking up an idea, but again, it wouldn't be cheap. That's the only problem. When it comes to cross stitch, an advent calendar of that caliber would not be cheap. So it's in my head. It'll pop out. It does these things. Things go in, and then later on, the idea comes out. So I just let it be. Heather says that they have good tea flavors, and she used to love them. And when she was in Massachusetts, they do. Yeah, my husband's gotten really good with. We have like a real deal from Italy espresso machine, and it's got the foamer thing, so he'll make tea lattes. Because we had one at the Tim Hortons here that was called a London Fog, so it was Earl Grey with milk, really, and some sugar. And so now he makes them with all the David's tea we have, because they have like a French toast one, and there's like all these different really good flavors.
One of your cats has made an appearance.
Yeah, my familiar. That's Shyla. The other two are snoozing. It's funny because she's the baby, but Tyler says she's my cat because she follows me around. And I said, that's because she's my little familiar. And I feed them. And I try to tell him that the reason the cats love me more is because I feed them. And he doesn't believe me. But I feel that that's why. Someone is saying, one spot of my... How do we connect with video, not that tech savvy? For this one, Stacy, this is just a separate, we're doing this a little different than we normally do. Normally we have Stitchee Stitch Togethers in Discord, so we can all go on video and chat. This one I'm doing a little bit different so that the rest of the free group can see, get some tips from some Stitchees, and also just see how we all hang out and things. So this one is me letting people into the video, but normally we do Stitchy ones in the Discord, so you can message me and I can teach you how to do that. So we do them in there. I'm thinking maybe next weekend I'm away. Maybe the weekend after.
Ooh, where you going?
We are going to Wasaga, which is closer to Cass. A little bit, I think. You're still a couple hours from there.
Yeah, because it's just in Barrie, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. So
it's only about an hour and a half away from me.
Yeah, so we're going down there because there's a big paintball tournament. They call it the big game. And like paintballers from there's paintballers from UK coming over. Like it's a big thing. So my husband's going. And then when I said, he's like, well, I don't want to go. Then you're just going to sit around, right? Like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then my cousin who's in Windsor, which is, I think she's 5 hours from there. She's like, I'll come up with the kids because we want to do a family vacation. We will go for a week and we can check out the area and whatever. So she's coming with the kids. And then 2 of her boys are 12, and then her husband's like, I'll go paintball. So her husband and the boys are going to play paintball with my husband. And then me and the girls are going to just do something. We're going to veg or something. I haven't seen her in a while. So, and then we were going to get matching tattoos, but I can't find any artists I like down there. So we're going to virtually do them matching. So I'm going to get my girl up here to do mine, and she's going to get hers to do hers around the same time.
Cool.
You gonna come say hello, or are you gonna sit there pretty?
Amanda, when you decide to get your Stitchy tattoo, let me know what the design is, and then maybe I'll get my designer to tattoo the exact same one.
Yeah, so I am getting Flossie, which is our pink bobbin. She's going right here on September 14th. I'm branding myself.
You're not going to do the other 2 first?
That's an awesome one.
Oh, she's going to do the other 2 at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she has time. I asked her if she had time to put her in because I'm just making her small in this little corner. So Flossie's going on there.
I was thinking because I have a little bit of room like up in here. Thinking about putting her there before he does the background of my sleeve.
Yeah. So she's going on there. While our Stitchy doors are open to invite new people, I'm officially permanently branding myself.
I'm trying to get 2 more tattoos. One for my son with my son name that he's autism, and another one it's gonna be 3 lions, the lioness, and a baby cub.
Oh,
that'd be cute.
Yeah.
I have a zebras on my back, and it's 2 baby zebras to represent each of my daughters, and then a bigger one that's me.
Oh.
But
you're gonna have to send me a picture of that because that sounds too cute. I want to see.
I have probably almost 100 tattoos.
Yeah, Cass has got me beat.
No, I only had 1 tattoo, but I'm planning to have my body full.
Yeah, my arms are going to be full. That's the plan. So we're starting with this one. So on the 14th, I'm doing Stitch and Angel. I found a really cute version where she's behind him, which is what I usually do to my husband when he's playing video games. Because my husband is Stitch. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it, but to me, he's Stitch because when he's angry, his other 4 arms come out and he goes all alien on me. So he's turned into, and he's going to have Stitch on him at some point. He's going to get the tattoo added to him. But so she's doing those 2, and then I'm going to do Flossie. And then this arm's going to be full. My cousin and I we're doing little panda bears because Amanda Panda and her name is Panda. Right. So we disconnect, like we haven't talked in years, and we reconnected over the last 6 or so months. And I laughed when I saw Panda. She does machine embroidery, custom shirts and stuff. She sent me something and it had panda bears all over it. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm not the only one that uses panda against your name. So we're going to do matching little panda bears.
You guys have got me beat completely. I am completely bare.
Don't start. I suggest not starting.
Yeah, I can't because of my health, because I've got diabetes type 1. So they've said don't do it because it'll take me way too long to heal. So
yeah.
Is that once you get one, you get Like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna get another one and another one and another one, and you
Well,
cannot finish.
yeah, and it's funny you say that because I keep saying, okay, after I get this sleeve done, I'm not getting any more. And
Yeah.
then my best friend's like, well, you got good. Now you have to get evil other arm. And I want to get my stepdad's name covered up, which is like right here. So I'm actually going to get Ursula here because she's
Okay.
dark, and then have her her arms to go wrap around a little bit, and then
Oh,
I'll
that sounds fun. I like
Yeah.
that idea.
making my way up.
Yeah, I saw.
I don't think I'm ever going to be done now. I'm almost
No,
43.
it's funny because I told my artist because I'm moving next year, and I said, okay, well, and then she had stopped tattooing for a while because she does some other things. And I said, okay, she's like, well, I'll finish your arm for you. And I said, okay. I said, well, I think at this stage, I said, I think we're done. We'll add in Winnie the Pooh, and then I think I'm done, right? She goes, okay. I said, yeah. I said, you can even sign it because that's where the diamond is because her last name is Diamond. And I said, and we're done. And then like not 2 weeks later, I'm like, what if she's like, we add more to your tattoo? And I said, yeah. And she goes, well, she's gone back to doing, she does now. She's part-time tattooing again, thank God. So I'm like, perfect. I'm like, I'll fill up as much as I can before I go. And then this arm will be a different artist. So I'm going to give her this arm, and then this one will be somebody new. So
Okay.
That would be kind of cool because it'll be like a reminder of your friend and all your time that you've spent there. So I mean, I like that idea. That's really
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, she was actually shocked that I told her she can add her signature at the bottom. I'm like, well, this is yours, so like might as well. And it's not like you're writing your name on me.
Uh-huh.
So
Exactly.
So Tash says she plans to have a full sleeve with roses done in birthstone colors and family and friends birth flowers. So
Oh
that
wow,
sounds
that
really
sounds
cool
nice.
too.
Yeah.
There was another. Where'd that other? There's somebody.
Yeah, I've seen all like the cross stitch designs, you know, like the ones that are cross stitch, and they look so cool. I'm like, I really want one, and my mom's
Yeah.
like, you dare? I'm like, okay.
I have my Mickey and my Minnie that's right here.
Mhm.
They're cross stitched.
Oh, cool.
And somebody did
Yeah.
say they're going to have a tattoo that is Stitch painting a Deathly Hallows, but it's not showing me a name. So that's cool.
That's
To whoever
cool.
was, whichever one of you wrote that.
Yeah. I want to get a stitch, cross stitch one too,
Mhm.
but I haven't decided yet what type.
Yeah, that's why I'm going with Flossie because then I'm like, she's mine and
Hmm.
she can be on there, and she's pink, so you never know. The other one's making big. My cat is chasing the nargles. I don't know what she chases, but I just call them the nargles because there's nothing there, and she's looking for something. She likes fur in the air, right? So then if I turn my lights on, those lights are super bright, right? So then you see all her fur, and then she jumps at it, and then of course she makes more fur, and then it turns into a giant thing. Oh, now she's gonna bury her food because she doesn't want anyone else to have any.
Mine's just quite happily snoring away on his seat.
Yeah, the other two are.
Well, I'm going to jump off so I can get to the gym before he has to go back to bed.
Thank you for sharing your counting strategies with
welcome. It
us
was
and your
nice
tattoos.
It was
nice
nice
to
being
meet
on
you,
here. Thanks
Cass.
for inviting me.
Yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
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 I was meaning to say I use GoodNotes.
GoodNotes is, yeah. So
Yeah,
GoodNotes works really well with our planner too. So there's a digital version of the planner that is, it works really well in GoodNotes too.
The only thing that they don't do the backstitching count in it either, so I have to do that myself. But I, like you guys have already said, you know, go across 2 and then count and then 3, and you know,
Yeah.
it depends how big it is.
Yeah, so that's what these little versions of the notebook will be nice for. You can keep it in your
Mhm.
purse, Leslie.
Yes. Yeah, but I'm getting the pink one, the bigger
Yeah,
one.
the big
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
So I will have more if anybody wants extras. I'm just waiting for all the Stitchies to claim their bonuses for those that are pre-ordering.
I
and
got a
then-
blue.
Yeah. I'm so excited about the colors. He sent me the pictures and I'm like, because he had sent me these like a picture of the swatches, right? Like pick your colors. So I'm like going off that, which is really hard because they're these tiny things. And he sent me like probably 50 choices. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not good with 50 choices. Okay. I'm like, so I narrowed it down to I had narrowed it down to 6. And then I'm like, can I have 7? Cause I really want that color too. Cause I wanted a yellow. And so he's like, all right, I'll let 7. I'm like, okay. So they turned out really good. And I'm of course going to end up keeping one of each probably for myself. Cause I need 300 more notebooks that I don't write in. I got one when I went to that Disney thing a couple weeks ago. I got one that's all Minnie Mouse. Again,
That's
I'm probably
you, isn't it?
yeah. If it would have been
If I
Tinkerbell, I
ever-
would have got 4. But
If I come when I come over for the convention, which I am entirely planning on doing, I'll bring you one with the UK or London or something on it.
yeah, exactly. Add to my collection. Yeah, I'm hoping like if all goes to my plan and dream here, we'll be out east by late spring, and I'm hoping to set something up maybe for the fall. If not, it'll be the spring of the year after. But what's neat about that area is I can do it in like PEI, or I can do it where I am, and like there's a lot of really pretty places. Amanda says, how much for the notebooks? I joined as a Stitchy Light after pre-ordering the calendar. As a Stitchy Light, because you pre-ordered, you will get a bonus one with you. So the Stitchies and Stitchy Lights, I included them in this bonus. You get one notebook with your pre-order. And from the sounds of it, you will be a Stitchy before you get your notebooks, because you told me you're going to join us in September anyways. So you get to pick a color there. I think I have the picture in the private Facebook group, but there's 7 different colors. You get to pick one, but they will be for sale afterwards, $10, $8. And there's going to be a bunch of colors. So anybody who pre-orders that is not a Stitchy or Stitchy Light can also add these in, and it will ship with and won't cost extra in shipping. So they can message me on that part too.
No, I have a second ambition for next year, apart from trying to get over to see you guys. Kind of hoping that Norman might do a convention. So I'm like,
yeah, we'll get your pattern ready, and hopefully that will get him to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I'll throw your Norman book that I have here, I'll put in with your planner.
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
Because it's been sitting in a box.
Oh, no,
actually, it's been sitting in the Amazon box that I got it in. Because I was like, perfect, I'll just ship it back out with that box. But then I'm like, well, it'll fit in your planner box, so we'll put it in there.
Thank
a little bit Norman obsessed. A little bit. Yeah, so that's some tips for
daily.
Hey, I'm just as bad with Tinkerbell. At least yours is a real person. You gonna come over here? Yeah, you're gonna come right over here.
You know, I mean, if I could get a tattoo, I mean, I'd love to get his Daryl Dixon angel wings on my back. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. But
you gonna say hello? You're like, I don't know what you're
talking. Another kitty, Joey. Stop painting and have a look at the other kitty. Yeah, another kitty.
She's like, I don't want to see you. Do I get some face rubs? Thank you. She gives face rubs. That's her way of loving you. So if you ask for face rubs or you say I love you, she gives you face rubs. And she has we call it her witching hour, and she comes up and she just like it doesn't stop. Your face is covered in drool because she's just face rubbing you like crazy. That's her witching hour, which is not right now. Hey, thank you. No, yeah, she's been doing that.
I put Joey's food down and I'm like, do I get a kiss for your food? And he's like,
yeah, she's been doing this. Like when I first I saw her on a Facebook page for the shelter here, and she was this like raggedy looking poor little kitten, and she was like 6 weeks old, and they were talking about how she had to get a stomach hernia surgery because they called her baby bump because she literally looked like a pregnant lady with this hernia she had. And I showed the picture to my husband, and he's like, no, we don't need a third cat. I'm like, I know we don't. I said, but look at her. And he looks at her and he's like, if she's there next week after her surgery, we'll go get her. I said, okay, fair enough. So after her surgery, they post and say the surgery went well and baby bump is still with us. And I'm like, baby bump is still with us. And he's like, hey, call him and tell him we're coming to take her. Then we're just see what she needs medically and whatever. So I called in and they're like, yeah, you know, you've got to keep her in a cage for the first 3 weeks because she was like completely cut open because they did her spay, and then her stomach they had to fix, right? They're like, so you're going to have to make sure she doesn't jump. She has to be calm, like all these things. I said, no problem. It was like about a 45-minute drive from where I was. So I said, well, don't get rid of her. If somebody happens to come by, she's mine. No problem. She's yours. So I get there and this lady has my cat in her arms and I'm like, I said, oh, is that baby bump? He's like, yeah, it is. And she's like, would you like to hold her? I said, no, I'd like to take her home. Like, so I pick her up, and the minute I picked her up, she started doing those face rubs, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the cutest thing in the world. I hope you don't outgrow it. And then so the lady was like, this is my first cat. I'm like, yeah, this is not your first cat. First of all, you don't take a medical, a cat with medical issues on your first cat. So she came home, and we had her in, we have a shower. We literally kept her in there for 2 weeks because we couldn't let her jump around. And my husband was home at the time. I was still working. So I would leave during the day, and he literally every 3 hours, he'd go in there with his iPad and sit in there for an hour with her in the shower. And then we were like, okay, she still kept giving the face rubs. And to this day, she hasn't, I think, cause we like it so much, she hasn't given up on it. That's her
How
way
old
of
is she
saying I
now?
love you. She is 3 now, 3 or 4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
It-
I found out the last time we brought her to the vet, we brought her in because the smarty pants jumped off something she shouldn't have and was limping. So we brought her into the vet.
Yeah.
And the vet did x-rays to make sure that nothing was wrong with her arm. And she goes, have you had this cat since the beginning? I said, yeah, we got her at like 6-8 weeks old. She goes, okay, well, did you know that your cat isn't made right? And I'm like, what do you mean she isn't made right? She's like, your cat is like, her hips are too, like the joints for her hips are too short, that her legs are really like, and then her arm is here, and she's showing me all these. She goes, we did all these x-rays. I'm not going to charge you for them, but look at this. And she's like this, and she's missing ribs, and she's missing, like, she's very like complete defect of a cat. I don't like using that word, but like they broke the mold before they made her, I think, instead of after. And I said, well, she's perfectly happy and healthy. Like she doesn't, other than hurting her arm this one time. And she's like, okay, well, just so you know, we call her a lemon now. So she's got allergies. She sneezes all the time. I'm like, I'm really glad you came to me, not some like neglectful home that just, leaves the cat. Like cats are, because I find there's a lot of people who end up with cats who just figure cats are independent, and my cats are not independent. I don't leave more than 2 days. My cats are probably more spoiled than most dogs. But yeah, so that's my lemon of a cat.
But yeah, when we were in Australia and New Zealand, we got a really good cattery that I leave Joey at. And every single week they'd post like 3 updates.
I was going to say, I saw the pictures when you were, I think that's really neat.
Like, I miss him, but I still see him.
Yeah. I have a couple friends that like, I know, like when we did a couple years ago, when we went away, I had my niece come and hang out, and I've got a friend who's very animal friendly, and she knows, and she'll come in from camp, and like, she'll spend a couple hours with the cats. Like, I'm like, I don't want you to come to my house, feed them and change their litter. I want you to come to my house, love them, hang out for like at least an hour, feed them, give them treats, that stuff. Like, I don't want you to just leave them like that. I know they're independent, but they like company. My cats are very spoiled. Andrea says hello. Andrea's over in Germany, another one of our Stitchees, another different time zone.
Yeah.
I'm getting better with the time zones.
I think Germany is, I think it's either 1 or 2 hours behind us.
Yeah, and then like Heather in South Korea or any of the ones in Australia are like a day ahead, and I'm like, oh boy, I get very confused with it, but I'm getting better. Yeah, so if anybody has any questions in terms of counting and things like that, Andrea says it's 5:30.
Oh, okay, so they're an hour ahead.
So where she is an hour ahead. If you're watching this pre-recorded after we leave here, then you can also still put comments. I'll keep an eye out and answer those things. I appreciate Kate and Leslie and Cass, who has left us, came with me and hung out.
I'm sorry I was late.
Oh, I think that's how we do it every time. Our time zones just don't work out the same way.
I thought I figured it out right, and I was like, right.
Is that I'm driving still.
Say that again?
That I'm here, but I'm still driving.
You're driving.
Yes.
We are multitaskers.
Yeah.
Well, Heather says it is 12:30 a.m. in South Korea, so she really needs to go to bed. Yes, I think she really does. I can't stay up past 10. I'm a pumpkin as of 10 o'clock, so not happening. I've always been that way. My husband laughs at me because he's a night owl kind of person. Well, he's actually a work off 4 hours kind of person. I'm like, no, I need 8 hours of sleep, and it has to start around 10. There's no way around that for me. So thank you, ladies, for hanging out.
No worries.
Thank you, everybody who's watching us. We're going to be doing a couple more of these throughout, not next weekend because I'm away, But the weekends after, we're going to do a couple more. We're going to have some people show off some Stitchy finishes from within our Stitchy membership. I can't remember if Kate is coming into that one.
I can
No,
do if you'd like.
You
me
do
to.
have a lot of Stitchy finishes, so you can come
I
join.
do
I'll get them
indeed.
to show that off. We're going to do one with some seasoned Stitchies to give up, like just kind of give tips of how they've changed their stitching over the way technology has changed, or just different tips for newbies and stuff like that. And then we're going on the other end. I'm going to have a bunch of newbie stitchers within our Stitchy group say the things they wish they knew when they were brand new. So we'll do some fun different things every weekend. And then for my Stitchies, for those of you watching, we're going to do a stitch together in Discord. So similar to this, but our own little private Discord one. Maybe the weekend of the 26th.
Great.
So just keep an eye on our Facebook group, and then we can all hang out and actually cross stitch, not just talk.
Okay.
I didn't bring anything with me, so I didn't this
Well,
time, but
I was gonna say, if anyone wants to stitch with me today, I'm free until like 8, so I've got 4.5 hours or something.
yeah, so any Stitchies who don't know, and you're in here because you happen to not see it in Discord, we have video channels in Discord in our Stitchy server that you can pop into. So same thing with Leslie. If when you're done running around, if you feel like it, you just go in and say, anybody want to come and stitch with me? You guys can do it by voice, so you don't have to be on camera, or you can do camera versions and just actually hang out and real life talk with other Stitchies as you do. So it just gives you a way to connect with everybody, and it doesn't have to be when I schedule it. Those are there all the time. I just force sometimes to kind of motivate people to come and join. So yeah, that's always there for everybody. So a bunch of people are saying thank you, goodbye.
Bye. I'm gonna
right.
leave you guys because
yes,
I'm
thank you.
driving. Okay.
Bye-bye. You go drive. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Kate. All right, so I'll just pop everybody off there. So like I said, I'm going to do these for a couple weekends. I will make events in the groups. I think I'm just looking to see if I put any events up. I put this one up. So if you look at the event tab in our Facebook group for the free challenge, you will see that I have obviously the one that's going on right now. I have one set up for the 26th. And then I am going to set up a couple more for a couple weekends after. I'm just trying to see what that comment was. Annabelle says, for the Discord part, you do need to be a Stitchy. That is a private Stitchy Discord thing, but I try to do these style every once in a while as well, so that you guys can hang out and you can stitch as you watch us hang out and chat. It's kind of just a way to give some of our Stitchy craziness and goofiness and stuff, and bring it out, and so you guys can get to know myself and get to know some of our Stitchies as well. Just turn Kate off, sorry. There we go. Andrea says, please join the Discord if you're already a Stitchy and never come over. Yeah, so Stacy, I know that you said you have to get back into the Discord. So just again, you can private message me. We can get you the link to get back in there. These are just some of the added perks for our Stitchy members and ways to connect, because it is our, like I've always said, it is our little family, and there's many ways to connect with the other Stitchies. Doing these just allows me to showcase how awesome my Stitchies are to the rest of this free group. Give you more motivation to join us as a Stitchy, or just if it's not in the cards, it's not in the cards. I don't hold that against anybody. Money sadly does not grow on trees, so I get that. So this kind of brings some of our Stitchy fun out into the world as well. So I hope some of the tips for counting have helped some of you guys, given you some ideas. If you have certain ways that you count and things, you can always pop them in the comments. People can scroll through and see them. I am hoping to put up some different blog posts on the blog with tips. So if you've got them, I can always, add them in there as well. So I don't mind if you wanted to pop them in comments. Then you need to, Andrea says, then you need to become a Stitchy. It has really changed my life. Those are the comments I like to hear. This Stitchy group has turned into even more than I expected it to, because the people in it are awesome. So I guess there is that saying of you attract the kind of people that you are, and I feel like I have attracted every awesome weirdo in the world who cross stitches, and I say weirdo in a good way because that's what I am. And I love all of the Stitchies who have joined me because it makes it a lot of fun to have friends around the world who also do a hobby and love it as much as I do. So I can nerd out on cross stitching with 400 and about 20 people at this point in our little Stitchy family. So these comments are moving a little quicker. Yeah, Kate says that I am epic. Well, thank you, Kate. And Annabelle is saying she's trying to save money to join us. I know that she mentioned that to me too. Annabelle was actually gifted our pre-order of the 2024 planner from one of our Stitchies who would like to remain nameless. But a Stitchie has actually gifted her the planner for next year. So that's really exciting as well. Actually, while I'm on here, if people haven't seen, there is a post featured in the group. So in the pinned ones, for anybody who does not have this year's digital planner, I don't have any printables, but the digital version, so the PDF, if anybody is still wanting it, doesn't have it, can't get it, whatever life throws at you, you can't afford to buy it. I'm giving away 2 copies of it. Probably do the raffle off next week when I do the July challenge prizes, which I haven't done yet. So if you find that, hit comment in there. I do see that a lot of Stitchies have commented on it. For those of you that were Stitchies up till now, actually, because even in March I gave it as included, you do have that included in the Stitch Hub, so you don't have to pay for it. It is already free in your membership. So if you can't find it, let me know. I can show you where it is. If I pull a name that is a Stitchie that I know has it for free already, I will not obviously give it to them. I will re-raffle to the next person. So that is a featured post in the group. So that is all we have for today. I appreciate everybody hanging out, and keep an eye out on the 26th. So the 2 Saturdays from now, around it's 1 p.m. Eastern, I will be in here with another group of Stitchies, some of them the same, some of them different, depending who can make it at that time. But we've got 5 or 6 people that are going to show off some of their finishes of our Stitchy patterns. So some of the patterns that are in our hub, some of them are individually available for sale, but a lot of them are still exclusive in that little group. So come and hang out with us on the 26th again. Have a great weekend, everybody. I hope you get some cross stitching in, and we will talk again on the 26th.